Hello, hello. Mic check, mic check. Great. Thank you. Hello. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this day, and you're welcome to the South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Conference on Women, Peace and Security. We are currently live streaming on Facebook and YouTube, and we are very privileged to have each and every one of you here. My name is Dr. Anne Lomole, and I will be the MC for the session. I'm also in the health cluster. My co-MC is Ms. Veronica Igale, who will be joining me shortly on the podium. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, honorable members, I would like to welcome you all to this inaugural conference on women, peace and security. Before we continue into the rest of the program, I would like to request each and every one of us to stand up and observe a moment of silence for our fallen heroes. Thank you so much. You may now have your seats. Thank you once again, and I welcome you again to this inaugural conference on women, peace and security. We are joined by South Sudanese women from every sector. All age groups are represented in this conference, and we have women from every state in South Sudan and from the 3 administrative areas. And also we have representatives from the refugee camps. We are also joined virtually by an audience that spans countries from every continent, from Kenya, Uganda, Egypt, Ethiopia, Morocco, Sudan, Canada, India, the United Arab Emirates, South Africa, Sweden, Tanzania, Germany, Denmark, Japan, Singapore, Iraq, France, Jamaica, to name but a few. So you can see that people are joining us from all across the world, and it helps that we have a digital platform where we can stream this conference live from. We would like to thank the UN Women and the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands for their support in making this conference a reality. We would also like to thank the participants, each and every one of you who is attending this conference. And we would also like to thank representatives of various institutions, local and international NGOs, and the representatives of embassies and our honorable members for joining us this day. We are grateful to have you here and very privileged. Now I would like to welcome Reverend Dr. Jacqueline Warile. I'm not sure if she's currently in attendance for the opening prayer. Reverend Dr. Jacqueline. At the moment, she has not yet arrived, so I will request Honorable Bridget Nagomoro to come and give us the opening prayer before we head into the agenda of the day.
That's what I'm saying.
Thank you for this opportunity. Dear members, we have gathered here in the mighty name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Let us humble ourselves and invoke the Holy Spirit to come upon us. God our Father, we would like to thank you so much for the gift of life. We want to thank you for this conference. I want to thank you for everyone present here. We ask you at this particular moment that may you shower your blessings, send us the gift of your Holy Spirit to guide us and protect us. Give us the wisdom to discuss whatever we shall be deliberating here today, and may it be something that will help us and help our nation. We ask all this through Christ our Lord.
Thank you, Honorable Bridget, for that prayer. Now, we would like to just have another moment of silence for our brothers and sisters from other different faiths. Thank you so much for observing that moment of silence. At this juncture, as we go into the meat of the program, I would like to invite one of our young creatives who will be coming on stage to sing a song about South Sudan. And we would like to welcome Lulu Kiden on the stage. I'd like to say a little bit about the group that she represents. Lulu Kiden belongs to a group of young South Sudanese girls and boys, or should I say men and women? Lulu. So they belong to a group called Imani Creatives, which is a worship ministry that exists to connect lives to Jesus through creative arts. And they have been able to recruit quite a number of people to their team who are able to continue this vision of theirs. We would have had 3 of them here today, but Lulu will be representing them. And I would like to invite Lulu to the stage. Lulu? She can also introduce herself, and then we'll be able to listen to her beautiful voice as she sings about this great country of ours. Welcome, Lulu.
Hello, good morning. So it's not a good morning. Okay, sorry, just give me about a minute or so. I'm going to sing over a track and I need to play it from this laptop. All right, so before I do the song, I just want to briefly talk about it. This song is a prayer for South Sudan, and it just declares that our God is the God of this nation, and that we have hope for revival and to see change in all the different spheres that we keep striving for change for. God is watching, and He's working in the background. Expectation, moving in love. We receive your grace and mercy. Let your kingdom come. You are Lord of the nation. You are Lord of the stars. You are Lord of the nation. Jesus, He was you you are always you are God of the nation. Jesus, He I hear the sound of revival. I hear the sound of breaking chains. And we arise in your freedom. Blessings rest as we stand and walk. I hear the sound of revival. I hear the sound of breaking chains. You are Lord of the stars, you are Lord of the nation. Jesus, He yeah, well, unfortunately, we couldn't do that. So I thought maybe that last line would correct us. But hey, thank you for working so hard to take South Sudan to the next level. We're in this together, and I wish us all the best as we continue with the program.
I think I feel more comfortable holding the microphone from my days as a singer. Lulu, I'll give you a picture very soon. Sorry? Yeah. At the end of the session, I will sing a song. But thank you so much for that beautiful song. When I was listening to you, I couldn't help but feel a pride and a joy in knowing that there's so much love for our country, even among our young people. And it's amazing that you and your team could come up with such a beautiful, beautiful song to celebrate this country of ours. Now, as we continue with the program, I'd like to recognize the presence of the UN Women Representative and also the presence of the representative from the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. So in view of the fact that they are already here, I will go ahead and invite the representative from the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Ms. Rosalind Mikaya Gama, to come and give us a few opening remarks. And thereafter, we will invite the UN Women country representative, Mr. Peterson Angola, to come and also give us a few remarks. Please note that this conference would not have been possible without the support of the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands and the support of the UN Women. Welcome.
Thank you. Guest of honor in absentia for now, honorable ministers, civil society members, of course our dear partner UN Women, with whom we have been part and parcel of this journey. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Rosalind Gama, and I'm the Gender Policy Officer at the Embassy of the Netherlands, speaking on behalf of the ambassador who would have loved to be here, but he's taken up in another commitment this morning. But he sent his regards to you, and he said he is with you in this journey. Now, women, peace, and security is an emotive topic and an action that requires all our efforts. And as the Netherlands, our focus on women, peace, and security is informed and guided by our women rights and gender equality framework. And as an EU member state, the strategic approach to women, peace, and security identifies objectives that are already defined in the UN, United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325, under the key priorities of prevention, protection, relief and recovery, and the overarching and cross-cutting principles of participation and gender mainstreaming. And that is why as EU we look at the participation pillar as one of the cross-cutting pillars, because we believe that without participation, we cannot navigate this area of women, peace, and security. And that is why we believe that the involvement of women, their participation, we have seen this through your participation in the RACIS, whether it's within South Sudan initiatives, in Addis, we've seen you mobilize women in Uganda, women in the camp, and with that, we really acknowledge your participation in this area. Thank you very much. We also do believe that the role of gender mainstreaming becomes a key focus, because we believe that this journey on women, peace, and security involves the men as our champions. We cannot do without them. We have seen how the protection pillar is evolving in this country, and we believe that without involving men, the protection pillar becomes a weak pillar without their participation in this. We've seen women looked at as victims with the involvement of the men, but also in some areas we've seen women as perpetrators if we look at the protection pillar. And so the involvement of men becomes a key factor for all of us. And I'm very glad to see UN Women focusing on gender mainstreaming in this country, both at policy level, but also through their programming together with the CSOs and of course, Women Intellectual Forum that is key on advocacy in this area. Thank you very much for that. We have also seen how the policy link is very, very vital. Why do we look at the policy link? We have seen the importance of legal frameworks. We already know how many legal frameworks that are supporting this area. And especially if we look at the protection pillar, we have seen UN Women done a lot of work in the review of policies, about 8 policies that are on gender. And we hope that these policies will soon be adopted. And especially when we hear of the Maputo Protocol, I really look forward to a day that South Sudan will ratify the Maputo Protocol in this country. With these few remarks, I would like to wish you a very good conference, and we look forward to reading the recommendations that will come out of this conference. And with this, I would like to say we are together in this journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rosie. I think we are so privileged to have the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands supporting the women of South Sudan. And it is an honor to have you here to this occasion. And we know that this would not have been possible without your support, and we remain grateful. And thank you for that speech and talking about the importance of women being represented in every sector and level of society in order to influence change, because the truth is that, especially within this continent, it is the women who carry the burden of society, and we are the ones who lead the nation, even though our participation and our impact is not put out there for all to see. But this is slowly going to change as we use different types of media, including social and digital media, to showcase the impact that our women have had, whether in South Sudan and wherever they are around the world. Thank you so much for that. So next, I would like to introduce the UN Women Country Representative, Mr. Peterson Mangola, and we are so grateful that you had the UN Women in South Sudan. That already tells us that there are many men who support the cause of women, and you are an exemplification of that. And we are privileged as a country to have you representing the UN women and advocating for the rights and the issues of women. Please welcome on stage and give us some remarks. Thank you. Please clap again for the UN Women Country Representative, which is very glad to see you as representing women. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much. I'll start by recognizing the Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare. I think the minister is not yet here. And also the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, the representative of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, my colleagues from the United Nations, all women leaders who are in this forum this morning. First, I want to congratulate you for all the efforts you women have put in the area of women, peace, and security. Congratulations, women. The work on UN Women, on women, peace, and security comes from the resolution which was made by the Security Council on the 1325 resolution, which looks at women participation in peace processes at all levels. And it's at that level where UN Women's work anchors its efforts in supporting women in the peace processes. It's now 22 years, if you recall. That was 2000. Now this is 2022. It's 22 years since that resolution was enacted. And South Sudan continues to be a key player in implementation of that resolution 1325. This resolution urges all actors to increase the participation of women and incorporate gender perspectives in all the peace and security efforts. It also calls on all parties to conflict to take special measures to protect women and girls from gender-based violence and all other forms of sexual abuse in situations of armed conflict. The resolution provides several important operational mandates with implementation for member states, just like South Sudan. In South Sudan, there has been great progress which has been made in the implementation of that resolution 1325. And as we know, as part of operationalizing this resolution, your efforts together with the Ministry of Gender, you came up with the National Action Plan on 1325, which was developed in 2015. And it went on for 5 years up to 2000, from 2015 to 2020, that's what the time, so 5 years. And it was just last year that the Ministry of Gender, with your efforts, reviewed the efforts that have been undertaken in those 5 years of the implementation of that National Action Plan. And as my colleague from the Netherlands highlighted, there are 4 key areas which this resolution focuses on: the participation aspect of women, the protection of women and girls, the issue of relief and recovery, which are the key areas of this resolution. So we want to see what has been some of the progress which has been made in these 4 areas in a nutshell. I know there will be a presentation on this, but I just wanted to remind ourselves on what your efforts have led into. On participation, women in this country, women in South Sudan, you participated in the developing of the R-axis, and you all contributed to the 35% advocacy. And we know that that increased from 25, which was in the transition constitution, to 35%. So congratulations for all your efforts on that. In addition, we see that there had been continued engagement and trainings which has been provided to women leaders, from the parliament to civil societies, to the civil services, in the area of how can we really elevate and mentor women to be key players and participate in all the different layers of leadership in this country. Let it be from political to economic to all the different sectors. We are seeing women increasingly taking up those roles. Again, that's all the efforts of your work in advocacy. Congratulations for that. In the area of protection, we are seeing that there are more increased women who are being taken up in the security and justice sectors. And the reason is because we want women who are, especially those who are experiencing violence, to have means on how they can be protected. We see that there has been in the different police stations, there have been what we call the women support centers, which have been established, where women can go and seek for justice when they are experiencing forms of violence. We see those systems being set up at different police stations, and that was not there before. We also see that the increased mobile courts, which are being undertaken by the Ministry of Justice, to ensure that women who are experiencing violence can be supported with legal aid. So again, these are the efforts of your advocacy as women of South Sudan. In the area of prevention, especially on violence against women and girls, as highlighted earlier, we see special protection units. Currently, we have 12, which has been placed also in the different police stations. These have been established to enable women and girls to report cases. And as you know, we are increasingly getting more cases reported. Data is not enough. The cases of violence against women, which is happening up to the subnational level, information is very limited, but we're beginning to get these cases reported. Again, this is efforts which you women have put in to ensure that women get justice on these issues. Secondly, we see some of legislative frameworks being developed. As we all know, we have the anti-GBV bill, which is being developed. We hope that if this is tabled to the parliament soon, this can also reinforce the efforts which we all are putting in pushing for the prevention of GBV at all levels. So again, I want to say congratulations, because a number of your colleagues, some of you I see here, you've been part of developing this anti-GBV bill. So let's hope that this can be passed as soon as possible. Civil society, women movement, women networks are also continuing to raise awareness at the subnational level to address the status quo of masculinity, on how men and boys can be part of promoting the rights of women and girls, how we can get to the traditional chiefs to stand and proclaim the rights of women and girls. This is what most of the women and civil society and us, the United Nations, are doing at this level. Again, thank you to all of us for really pushing the prevention agenda from national to the state level, and let's continue maintaining that momentum. Lastly, on relief and recovery, we also know that there has been a lot of shocks which women have experienced as a result of the conflict. Women economic empowerment has been affected by the conflict. Displacement has happened. A number of women and girls have gone out of the country to other neighboring countries, and some of them are returning, and still they need to be resettled in their communities. We see the recent floods, how it has also affected the women and caused a lot of displacement, affecting their economic means. And also, we see that the COVID outbreak, as we all know, it has stalled all economic interventions. Now, all of us in a number of interventions, we are promoting to ensure that women have some access income, startup income, to begin promoting their livelihood. And UN Women, with support from our partners, like the Netherlands and other partners, we are pushing for the village savings and loans, which provides women with startup capital to inject into their businesses. And we want to see this multiply into the different states. So again, we'll be getting back to you to really engage more. How can we push for women economic empowerment as part of recovery from the economic shocks the women experienced in South Sudan? As I conclude, UN Women is very proud to be part of these interventions, and we really appreciate all your engagement and collaboration with us. And we reaffirm our commitment, together with the Embassy of Netherlands, on how we can take forward some of the actions that can come out of this meeting to see what tangible, key hanging fruits can we immediately come up with and support. What are those medium interventions that we can support, and what are the long-term interventions that we shall support? It's from these platforms which we support that such information comes, and we all come up with action plan of how we can advance this. Again, count on us, UN Women, and we really look forward to working with you to making into action these outcomes of this meeting, and seeing that the women and girls of South Sudan play a central role in promoting peace and sustaining it. Because as we know from other countries, my colleague mentioned some of the countries, but also in a country like Liberia, which came from conflict, the conflict came to an end because the women said enough is enough. This conflict should end, should come to an end. It's the same message we are sending. Let us women, as feminists, though I'm a man, I'm a feminist, I stand for the rights of women. So, let all of us, men, women, boys, and girls, say enough is enough. The conflict should come to an end, and women should play a key central role in this. And again, it's you women, the mothers, the sisters, who play a central role in ensuring that this happens. We count on you, you count on us, and we are in this together. Thank you so much.
Good morning. How are you all? Thank you for coming. And I see the mood is as dull as the weather outside. Have you said good morning to your neighbor? Do you know who you're seated next to? No? Yes? Okay, okay, at least now we have laughed a bit. My name is Veronica Igale, and I would just like to involve a bit of, we have a table behind of the women vendors. As much as we look at them as small scale traders or vendors, I feel they're the main drivers of our economy. I'm sure as women, we all go to the market to buy flour for making posho, right? I do not know how you buy your flour, but I go to the market and do a selection of my flour from those women who sell. There's somebody there who's selling cassava, and we have some, what is it? Millet. So I'm going to ask her to tell us how she started her business and how it has impacted or benefited her. So please tell us your name. Is the mic on? Okay. I Esther, itagamu shuni fisuklibia na. Okay, okay. Tabada business takide miten. Okay. Yala business de gisadi it's a case.
Business de akora bidang yani kita bandia anti madaris rusani kita bigo haja besiti ya masalan yara ta sheri kita bigo be nasa bigo be Uganda kita bigo be alfe biten kita bigo kutu ba alfe urumia bas biten ni ya ta bigo ni keko Bafra kama kazani mbele yani shawar kita bafra kutu be hamso shiri upogo kutu tamanya wale kisa jande kita bigo ba alfe dus haja ita bigo pogo miki alfu kusumia ishawar kwa business de brusto makuru wale ano ribeto besi kita bigo haja gari kita bigo bite au kusumia au alfu.
Shukran Taki Esther, shukran Shedid. So we are here to discuss today issues like, I believe we all understand Arabic with the exception of our UN representative. I believe we have all understood what Esther has said, and it is something that so many women are facing in this country. And we're here to discuss these challenges today. And before we move to the discussions, I would like to call Dr. Ann. Dr. Ann is going to introduce to us the main reason why we are here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Veronica, especially for talking to our women vendors and just asking them about the business. As we have consistently said, they are the backbone of the economy of this country. Now, in view of the people who do not understand the English language too well. I would like to request if there's a volunteer who is able to translate. Anyone? I apologize on behalf of myself. I grew up in Eastern Africa and I am not very fluent in Arabic. Can we have a volunteer, if possible? Yes, thank you. We have a volunteer. Okay, so Nora, Honorable Nora Zangabeo was one of the SWAP Award winners, if I'm correct, from the state level in the gender cluster. And I'm so grateful that she has volunteered to sort of summarize and interpret what I will be speaking of. So, Honorable Nora, my speech is quite long, so I'm going to ask for your patience. And I'd like to request you can go and have a seat, but just listen and come up with a summary that you come and speak after me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable Nora. We're so grateful for you. So as I said before, please bear with me. I have a lot of things to say. I might not look it, but I'm an extrovert and I talk too much, according to my brother. So that is what I will be doing in a few minutes. Sorry. Let me just adjust this so that the people who are virtual are able to just listen in. So thank you so much. I am so grateful to see most of the seats full today. We are amazed at the dedication that the women of South Sudan have for this country. And this is evidence that you have set yourself apart to make a difference in this nation. And we, as the women of South Sudan and as the South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Forum, are very grateful and privileged to have you here today. So I will go ahead and give this speech on behalf of the South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Forum, of which I believe all of you here, or most of you here, are members. Honorable members, the Honorable Minister of Gender, Child and Social Welfare in absentia, distinguished guests, all protocol observed. I will introduce myself again. My name is Dr. Anne Pitalo-Mole. As I said before, I am by day a pediatrician. I deal with children, and I also have some training in infectious diseases. I'm delivering this speech on behalf of the South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Forum. I'm very pleased to be here today at this one-of-a-kind conference on women, peace, and security, a conference that has brought South Sudanese women from all sectors, women from different political affiliations, from the 10 states of South Sudan and from the 3 administrative areas. It has also brought women from refugee camps and women from the East African countries, and we are currently streaming live on all our platforms, and therefore we are also joined virtually by South Sudanese women and South Sudanese and also international attendees from throughout the diaspora. I would like to thank the UN Women for their support for this conference and funding that they have received to support this conference from the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. The Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands through the UN Women will also be supporting upcoming activities, including the training of male champions for positive change in Warab State, in Unity State, and in Western Equatoria State. Thank you so much for believing in us. We are so grateful for your faith in the South Sudanese women. It is known that the active involvement of women in peace processes not only supports peace efforts, but also ensures that a broad spectrum of societal needs is considered and valued. This is because women always take a collaborative approach that cuts across ethnic divides. Using their unique strategies as community leaders, South Sudanese women facilitated and played different roles during armed conflict. They were involved in war behind the scenes, and they supported their families by providing basic needs. They also voiced their opinions through different strategies of resistance. South Sudanese women also formed grassroots organizations that advocated and mediated talks at local and national levels, and also provided some services to the local communities. South Sudanese women, therefore, became the backbone of their societies and took care of their households and their communities. However, we have seen consistently that in the post-war era, South Sudanese women have found it hard to maintain their positions because society has often neglected our role in each and every sector and not taken into account our important contributions during armed conflict when the men were away. The first resolution on women, peace and security, the Security Council Resolution 1325, was unanimously adopted by the UN Security Council on 31st October 2000. The Security Council Resolution 1325 marked the first time that the Security Council addressed the disproportionate and unique impact of armed conflict on women and recognized the undervalued and underutilized contributions that women make to conflict prevention, to peacekeeping, to conflict resolution, and peace building. It also stressed the importance of women's equal and full participation as agents in peace and security, and that is why we are here today. The Women, Peace and Security Agenda is anchored on the principle that effective incorporation of gender perspectives and women's rights can have a meaningful and positive impact on the lives of women, men, girls, and boys. So it is quite far-reaching, the impact this can have. It's interlinked and mutually reinforcing aspects of protection, prevention, and participation, and are critical in respecting human rights and dignity, and in tackling the root causes of conflict to create sustainable peace. Ladies and gentlemen, what are the aims of this conference? The aims of this conference are to identify opportunities in different sectors where the issue of women, peace, and security can be addressed, to develop a strategy that will be inclusive of all the identified sectors for the implementation of the UN Security Council Resolution 1325 and for the participation of women in peace-building activities, and to develop action plans for the collaboration of all the sectors in ensuring the implementation of activities related to women, peace, and security through all sectors that will foster peace and development in South Sudan. For many decades, the South Sudanese people have struggled for liberty, justice, and prosperity. The post-independence period witnessed violent conflicts from 2013 to 2016 and subsequent intercommunal violence resulting in the displacement, loss of life and property, and increased security that has affected mainly women and girls. The COVID-19 global pandemic did not make things easier, and neither did natural disasters like the floods that have caused further suffering to the people amidst a weak economy. Following the signing of the CPA in 2005, the South Sudanese people in 2011 overwhelmingly voted to become a sovereign nation by 98%. And what is notable is that women voted by 52%. However, the contributions of South Sudanese women have largely been ignored since then. And we hope to make that, to make the difference to ensure that that does not continue. Because the active involvement of women in peace processes and development not only supports peace efforts, but also ensures that a broad spectrum of societal needs are considered and valued. So I will introduce in brief the South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Forum for those of you who do not know us or do not know what we are about. The South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Forum is a network of South Sudanese women that have been drawn from all ages and sectors, from health to education, legal, justice, agriculture, the informal sector, security, business, governance, civil society, NGOs, faith-based organizations, among others. It was established from April 2020 and comprises of women in South Sudan and in the diaspora, with the goal of galvanizing women and uniting their efforts towards sustainable development and peace. We have more than 5,000 members, 15,000 online subscribers, and have reached more than 100,000 South Sudanese women across the globe. And since its inception, we have been able to discuss various topics on issues ranging from peace, governance, culture, education, SGBV, health, development, and many more. Up to 100 topics have been discussed on that platform. The forum was initiated to provide a platform for South Sudanese women to gain and share knowledge, provide mentorship, and have access to information and resources that will enable South Sudanese women to participate fully in the reconstruction of our country. This forum is committed to realizing a free, just, and equitable society that drives change and participation by linking South Sudanese women globally through an online dialogue and in past events, and as we speak today, in-person dialogue. We strive to solve some of the challenges and issues that face South Sudanese women from across the globe. Our objectives are to promote social cohesion and mutual understanding among our people, unite all South Sudanese women globally, to share technical expertise and build a database of knowledge, skills, and information for all South Sudanese women, to share ideas, promote and conserve positive cultures, seek opportunities, and share information on the same. We also share and build a database of research and publications that have been done by South Sudanese women. Our mission is to strive to provide opportunities for our women to connect with and support each other, and to facilitate meaningful approaches to networking, embracing new ways of enriching our connections and raising awareness of our members on various issues. So what is our vision? Our vision, I think, correlates with the vision of many South Sudanese people within the country and across the world. We hope to shape the future of South Sudanese women by providing opportunities for development. We also envision a South Sudan without war, without poverty, with strong accountability systems and good governance, where women will be involved in decision-making in every sector and level of society, and a country that is free of tribalism or division along ethnic, socioeconomic, gender, or religious lines. We envision a country where service delivery to every segment of society is something that is put at highest priority, with free and accessible education for all and accessible healthcare, which for me is a mission and a vision that I have for this country of ours. A country where women are empowered, uplifted, and are equal members of the society, and where they are not subjected to any form of sexual or gender-based violence. We aim to promote gender equality and empower women and girls by removing any barriers that prevent their full participation in economic, social, political, and public life. And this conference is one of the first steps towards achieving this aim. Ladies and gentlemen, why did we use the word intellectuals? And it is a question that has been asked from the beginning of the inception of this forum. So I will explain it in the words of Ms. Aisha Anhiri, who is the founder of the South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Forum. An intellectual is a person who engages in critical thinking, research, and reflection about the reality of society and proposes solutions for the normative problems of society. It is an ideology of rationality and knowledge. Therefore, intellectualism is not about how educated or book smart one is, but is a way of thinking and doing things with a mindset that is directed by a thoughtful process. The South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Forum does not discriminate against anyone, and South Sudanese women from all over the world, including those at grassroots levels, are able to join in and participate in healthy discussion and debates on the future of South Sudan and the future of South Sudanese women. Why have we focused in the beginning on online and digital media? So I will highlight a little bit about the benefits of the same. As the world goes digital, women are gradually being left behind. While internet and digital technology can open a world of opportunities to all users and bring particular benefits to women. In South Sudan, where medical facilities are few and far between, availability of internet and access to it can enable women to access healthcare information and receive critical information on their health. Advocacy and awareness. It is easy to mobilize people for a cause and for information to reach out to many individuals using this media in the shortest time possible, as evidenced by the streaming of this conference at this very moment to thousands of users all over the world. Income and employment. The global workforce is increasingly digitized, and this was accelerated by the global COVID-19 pandemic. When women do not gain digital or internet skills, they miss out on many opportunities. But those who have access then are able to expand their economic opportunities. Representation and leadership, which is something we have talked about the fact that the contributions of the women of South Sudan have long been ignored. But for those who have been able to follow the discussions that we have had on the platform, you have seen for the first time in history, South Sudanese women, experts in each and every field, being able to share their skills and knowledge on an international platform. And therefore, ICT helps to indicate and also to show the world that women are also capable and are able to be leaders in every sector. If there is a time that social and digital media has proved that it can be a medium for change, it is this time. The COVID-19 pandemic has shown us how social and digital media can be used for good, and the South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Forum has exemplified this through the help of the women of South Sudan who have regularly participated in our panels, sharing their expertise, skills, and knowledge, and our supporters who have believed in our vision from the very beginning, including the UN Women and the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, who are currently supporting this conference. We have therefore dispelled the myth that South Sudanese women have no capacity by mobilizing South Sudanese women to participate in the development of South Sudan and discussing key issues that support them. Some of our achievements have been to gather through online platforms a diverse group of non-partisan creative scholars and expertise from various fields to discuss and address some of the most complex problems that are facing South Sudanese women. We have also been developing key messages and sending them to women and the general public on issues regarding various sectors, including health and gender, and multiple issues affecting our society. The South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Forum is the only forum known for bringing together the government, representative, and women at the grassroots level, women in the diaspora, and men and women from all sectors and walks of life to discuss issues affecting our country and discuss solutions for the same. In October 2020, the South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Forum collaborated with the UN Women to hold an event in Juba to discuss the UN Security Council Resolution 1325 and affirmative action in South Sudan. We have also successfully organized 2 donation drives for our children at Al-Sabah Hospital and the orphanage. For the first time in history of South Sudan as a nation, the South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Forum has brought together women from all the 64 ethnic groups and all the 10 states and the 3 administrative areas of South Sudan together under one common umbrella with a goal of impacting our communities and developing the nation. So what is our future? We hope to promote unity and cohesion among the people of South Sudan. We believe that by uniting, we are able to achieve more. And as we have said before, our tribe remains the women of South Sudan. Our members are ready to support other women in capacity building and capacity enhancement. And we will continue to provide a platform for the women of South Sudan to discuss issues that directly affect them and affect this country and propose solutions for the same. Once again, we would like to thank our honorable members, our distinguished guests. We would also like to thank our participants. We would like to thank the audience that is joining us virtually. We would also like to thank the UN Women and the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands for supporting this conference. And we would like to thank all the institutions and organizations that have supported us since the inception of this forum. We thank you, and we are truly grateful for your generosity and support to the South Sudanese women through the South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Forum. We, the women of South Sudan, stand for sustainable peace and development. Thank you all, and God bless South Sudan. Together we come. I would like to now welcome Honorable Nora Zangabeo. I know I have given her quite a huge responsibility, and she'll be able to just summarize these words that I have spoken on behalf of the South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Forum. Welcome, Honorable Nora. Thank you.
Good morning. Oh, I should start in Arabic. Yeah. صباح الخير. أنا بس جا كلم كلام ده بعربي ملخوصة تكلم الكلمة ده كويس. أنا بكلم عربي شوية متوسط ولا أنتوا ما بتفهم. أنا ما هتكلم كتير فيه بلاغة وكده. أوكي. المتكلمة الأخيرة أو زول الونس أخير وكلم حاجات كتير. أسباب ليه أنا هنا الليلة. سبب على أنا هنا أنا جا كان نسوان عشان بيجي سوا وفكر سوا وأنا بوصل لحلول البقدر ساعدنا وساعدوا بلدنا كده يعيش في سلام. يعني كانوا اسم المؤتمر ده نسوان في السلام والأمن. فهي تكلم كثير بأنه نسوان في زمن الحرب اشتغل شديد. تانين دخلوا في حرب وتانين ساعدوا ناس في الحرب وهم عملوا حاجات كتير وهم ذاتوا جين ولدوا يا شاب كشاب السودان قروا لقدام. لكن حاجات النسوان عملوا كتير كله ينسيتوا وأكثر شيء نسوان دايما ورا ما ذكر حاجات الكتير نسوان قاموا. ففورم ده بتاع النسوان المتعلمات intellectual women ده النسوان المتعلمات yes المثقفات. النسوان المثقفات ومن جو مع بعض وزول الأسس التنظيم ده اسم تهيا عاشا أنيري. هي كونت الكلام ده عشان نسوان بيقدر ونسوا مع بعض. نسوان في فورم ده جا أجمع حتى إنت كان في خرطوم ولا في أمريكا ولا وين جيبوا نسوان كله في محل واحد. ومن عملوا خدمات ومن كان رزور مستشفى الصباح ودي فوقه مساعدات ومن كمان عملوا احتفالات ومن كمان جيبوا نسوان عشان يجي يتكلموا يتكلموا عن الحاجات اللي تواجههم وحاجات اللي تواجه عنا في بلدنا. والهدف طبعا عشان بونس كتير عن الخدمات اللازمة. مثلا خدمات التعليم طبعا عندنا ورا كنسوان مستشفيات وكده. فعشان كده تكوين منظمة ده جيبوا ناس كله حتى الناس اللي شغالين في مستشفى. إننا كان دكتور آن هي دكتورة وعندنا فيه يوم نسوان التجارة وفي ناس وزراء وفي ناس في المجتمع الدولي وفي ناس في المدنية اللي هو civil society. يعني جاب ناس من كل المحلات النسوان في فوقه عشان الناس بيشترك مع بعض. هدف الكلام ده كله يا جماعة كيف نسوان يتوحدوا، كيف نسوان بوقف مع بعض، كيف نسوان بفكر مع بعض، كيف نسوان بقدر قدم بلد لقدام عشان يكون فيه السلام والتنمية، وكيف ان احنا نقدر نشوف في قوانين كتير طلعت، في لوائح كتير طلعت عشان كيف يجيب مرأة يشتغل سوا مع الراجل، لأنه المرأة والراجل كان يشتغل في محل واحد ما بيكون في العنف، ما بيكون في دق، ما بيكون في discrimination، يعني ما بتكون في تفرقة، ناس ما بيكون عندهم تفرقة، ناس بيكون واحد، ناس بيكون شعبا واحد، فالنسوان دائما بيجيب نسوان واحد، ما في كلام اسمه قبلية. إذا كان النسوان والرجال بيشتغل مع بعض القبلية بتموت، لأنه نحن بشوف رقبتنا نحن شعب واحد ونشتغل مع بعض. فعشان كده المنظمة دي قالوا لقدام عشان قوانين ناس موجودة بروتوكول وفي كام قوانين المودو في جنوب السودان، والقوانين ده أهميته عشان حماية المرأة، ما يكون في عنف ثاني ضد المرأة، وخاصة في زمن حروبات دائما بتكون في اغتصاب، نسوان وبنات يجي يغتصبوا، ونانو أغلبية النسوان ما متعلمات وما عندهم شغل. فإذا جينا مع بعض دي المشاكل الناس باينوا فوقه وبيجدوا الحلول كيف نسوان يشتغلوا ويقفوا سوا مع الرجال عشان نقدر نلقى حل لمشاكلنا. وهي بشكر كثير منظمة أو السفارة بتاع نيدرلاند أمباسي مع UN Women دومن يساعدوا مؤتمر ده أقدر جبنا في محل واحد، أننا جينا في محل واحد عشان نتفكر ونقدم الحلول أو الحل للمشاكل الواجهة في جنوب السودان. كلنا مع بعض أننا ماشيين نشتغل عشان مرة وراجل لازم يشتغلوا مع بعض، مرة وراجل كان يشتغل مع بعض، نسوان اقتصاديا من بيكونوا قويين ومن كمان بيكون متعلمات لأنهم درسوا يالتهم في مدرسة، حتى هم ذاتهم بيرجعوا في مدرسة، والبلد ده ما بتكون فيها حرب تاني، إنما كلنا حنشتغل مع بعض عشان نبني أنفسنا اللي هو البشر ونبني بلدنا وبلدنا تعيش في السلام. ده ملخصة للكلام ده كله. فعشان كده أنا قراش كرومان شكل ده ما ساهل، ومن جيبوا نسوان من كل الولايات العشرة، ولايات جنوب السودان العشرة ده كله جيبوه، كان من وراب، كان من بحر غزال، كان من روبيف، كان من وستن إكواتوريا، كله أي ولاية ممثل هنا. الغرض إنه عشان كنا جاء من كل ولايات نبيجيب مشاكل الموجودة في ولايات هنا وأنا بتفكر مع بعض كنسوان كيف نجد الحلول للمشاكل اللي بتواجه النسوان. فعشان كده نحن كنسوان لازم نوقف قوي عشان نشتغل سوا مع الرجال. فجبال نحن ما ضد رجال، لكن دارين نشتغل سوا مع الراجل عشان المشاكل اللي فيه بلد لازم يعيش في السلام و ما في حرب، كلنا نشتغل مع بعض نودي بلد لقدام. ما بتكون في قبلية زول ما باين أخوته عشان قبيلته. نسوان جي جزو في أي محل، ده هو وحدة النسوان، ده هو نسوان دائما بيحب سلام. جينا هنا عشان نتكلم عن السلام والأمن بتاعنا وأمن بتاع بلدنا. وشكرا.
Thank you so much for translating, giving us a version, the Arabic version for our women who are not well versed with the English language. I would like to recognize, I'd like to recognize the presence of Honorable Rebecca Joshua. Thank you so much for taking off time to be here with us. Please, if you can stand up and maybe wave. So some people don't know you. Yes. Thank you for taking your time to be here with us. We understand that you have other pressing issues to attend to, so we will excuse you for that, but we appreciate your coming. I would also like to recognize the presence of our only female governor. Miss Sarah Cleto is our only female governor, and she's a governor of Western Bahar al-Ghazal. Thank you for coming. Yes. Next, I would like to invite Emmanuel. Emmanuel is going to give us a song about women. And please be at and let's enjoy the music. Emmanuel? I would also like to recognize the presence of our Minister of Gender. Our Minister of Gender has just arrived. You're welcome. You need this down? No? Yeah.
Good morning. Yeah, my name is Juba. Whatever I do, I try to approach this love and hope. Yeah, so I do everything I do that. Yeah, great stuff. There's another idea somewhere. It's about food. So, I love to cook. You imagine food makes food. It's very nice. It's really appetizing. You can't really have it. And then look at your watch and decide to eat. Try to start, try to get through the competition. From working to the land go, keep yourself at 2 points. You can't have it. And then how does Verona, that's what it is in the world. South Sudan. We have 2,000 ladies who go to school. They achieve. They become engineers, doctors, and then I work. They get married, and their husbands want to keep them poor. They don't want them to work out because they are old. You know what? It's decided to go there. They're supposed to go. I feel that's unfair. So I will have an institution here Yes, agreements, they practice against their rights. During that time, it was interesting to have conversations with people going somewhere. It was interesting, what was that? So, through the conversation that I had, I found out our mindsets are not the same. People are not open to change. Yeah. They are doing that, they don't have big preference or anything, but not their own. And so it's like that. That change is not going to break. Because someone who has not been someone's wise up. So you cannot allow the wise to run. And I love guys to go to school. Like, serious. So yeah, I was inspired by the song. The song is called Malu Meanwhile. There's a other she doesn't have to say, but the lyric is not there. Yeah. So she wants to have a dream. She wants to achieve, she wants to be somebody, but then she's facing barriers. In this song, I find this girl who wants to be, wants to be a doctor, wants to be someone, but she's facing those barriers. But then she's slowly reformed, she smiles, but not because she's smiling, because she's pregnant. And she has love because she's our. Yeah. So I hope you enjoy it.
It's hard to see, rain must come and tears will fall. Oh, me for what she feels, what she feels, what she feels. We always say she never be out, I feel so deep. Going on the way, on the way, on the way, on the way. We always say she never be out, I feel so deep. Going on the way, on the way, on the way, on the way. They say you don't how to say I know, I know, I know. They say you don't know how to say I know, I know, I know. So I'm happy, oh yeah, I go my so you just make me dance, so I want to wish never get enough. I feel so deep, I say that I down, and they say you don't have to say I do. I know, I know. They say you don't have to say I know. I know, oh, I know, they say you don't have to say I know. I know, I know.
Yeah, that's the song I wrote. I think I'm still writing. Like the music has to reach where it has to reach. That has to touch mindset until we have the South Sudan, our country, and everyone, and the country living, the country liberal. The next piece is short, it's not my song, but it's like it fits the country. It's about security, it's about how it's the sum of this, how we don't need to start overall nothing.
We are the same. We were born morning to day. Only hoping, and we will change. Lost over without today. So it's confusion. You don't have to travel long, but you find for all my baby. Oh, you, I am now your enemy. You don't have to travel long, but you find for all my baby. You, I am now your enemy. I'm not your enemy. Yeah. Open your eyes, I'm not your enemy. No, I'm not your enemy. I'm not your enemy. Open your eyes, oh, I'm not your enemy. No, I'm not your enemy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for those beautiful songs. We have so much talent in this country, and we are so proud of you for following your passion. It's very hard to follow, to be a creative actually in Africa. But as one of my colleagues once said, that many are called, but few are chosen, and you are one of the chosen ones. So congratulations and thank you. Thank you so much. So we'll go straight ahead with the program. I would like to request Aisha to bring on the representatives from the diaspora if they're currently online. Aisha? Diaspora? Yes, so we would like to invite Ms. Regina Akol to just say a few words on behalf of the diaspora. She's currently trying to get on screen.
Just this point.
Yes, thank you, thank you. I think Ms. Regina just went off screen. So we have Ms. Dora Poniloro, who is joining us from Norway. Dora, it's so nice to see you on the screen today. Thank you for joining us. Please go ahead and give us a few remarks as you represent the South Sudanese women in the diaspora.
Thank you so much. Good morning to every one of you attending this conference. My name is Dora Ponidoro, and my tribe is the women of South Sudan. I stand for love, dignity, and full potential for myself and others. I'm a social worker and child welfare specialist. I work with young refugee minors in the child welfare services here in Norway. It is such a privilege being a part of this amazing forum of South Sudanese women. Women with a collective agenda and a driving force to empower, educate, and enable each other's career progression and development. In so doing, we build our different capacities. We design solutions to the problems primarily affecting us women. We we find our rightful places in decision-making tables, and we contribute with our different expertise in building our nation. Throughout history, our South Sudanese history, we know that women have had central role in society, ensuring its stability, progress, and development. Many of you here today have been such an inspiration for many of us and in many different ways. You have, through your courage, resilience, and unwavering hope, paved way for us all to follow. And for that, we remain grateful. We admire you and we cheer you on in the work that you are doing, despite the many obstacles that you are facing. As women in the diaspora, we do contribute towards our nation building in many different ways. And we gladly do so because we know we have the responsibility to contribute back in as much as we contribute in the host communities that have taken us in as refugees. The South Sudanese Women's Forum has, over the years of its existence, shown us how powerful we can be and what we can become when we choose to unite and amplify our voices as South Sudanese women. We have, through the weekly discussions, exposed great intellectual women within South Sudan and in the diaspora. We have raised awareness and concerns about injustice based on gender. We have challenged and questioned the status quo of things we see, and we have made our voices heard. We as women are a formidable force. We can do what we put our hearts to. And when we have each other's support, we can bring transformational change together when we choose to work jointly and look beyond our cultural and religious differences. When we center and ground ourselves in the universal values of love, compassion, and dignity, not only for ourselves, but for others, we will be able to create sustainable and peaceful societies. I will round up with this poem from a South African poet, Lebogang Mashila. And I say this to all of you, my sisters. Tell your story. Let it nourish you, sustain you, until your past stops tearing your present apart. For we as women of South Sudan, we have the capacity to move our country and make it the country we want to see. The future, a bright one for our children and all others to come. Thank you so much. I wish you 2 fruitful conference days. Thank you.
We'd like to thank Ms. Dora Podi for taking her time to speak to us. I'm sure where she is, it's quite late in the night or very early in the morning. Thank you so much, Ms. Dora, for representing the voices of the diaspora. Aisha, if you're still with us, do we have Ms. Regina? Okay, so Ms. Regina doesn't seem to be online yet. So what we'll do is we'll move ahead with the program. First and foremost, I would like to recognize again the presence of our Honorable Minister for Child, Gender and Social Welfare. I would also like to recognize the former Deputy Governor of Juba State, Honorable Riz Atirio, And I would also like to recognize, thank you so much. And I would also like to recognize the presence of the current Governor of Western Barakaza State, Honorable Sarah. Thank you for joining us. I know it's an ambush, but we would like to just pick a few remarks to the women currently gathered here and the women who are joining us virtually. Before now, we officially invite the Minister for Child, Gender and Social Welfare to give her speech. So, Honorable Sarah Real, please join us on the podium. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence.
Thank you, MC, for inviting me to say a few words. Honorable Aya Benjamin Warile, Minister of Gender, Child and Social Welfare, all currently constitutional post holders and former constitutional post holders, UN Women, Netherlands Embassy, members of SSWI, all women in your different capacities, and also gentlemen who are here, the few good men, good morning. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I wasn't prepared to give a speech or give a few words, but usually politicians, when they get a microphone, you'll have to stop me from talking. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to join you here this morning. I have been traveling out of the country. I was in the US. I was in a delegation that was led by the Honorable Minister of Gender to attend the UN Commission on the Status of Women. And I also stayed over a little bit as a member of the diaspora. I lived in the US, and that was also an opportunity for me to go and see family while in the United States. I came to know SSWI, maybe I was one of the first speakers to be invited to speak online while I was in the United States. That was during the COVID period. I was at home. Maybe a few months later, I was appointed as the governor of Western Bahr al-Ghazal. So maybe that was a blessing. It was also a blessing to speak to the incredible women of South Sudan. Usually we as women, when we gather, it is always a powerful gathering because we are the catalysts that bring changes in any country. And as South Sudanese women, we have suffered a lot, and the time has come for us all to stand up and fight, not fight, claim our rights. We don't want to fight. We don't want the world to fight. We want the vote to gain our rights, to claim it, and to take it. We don't want to wait for anyone to give it to us. We have suffered so much, and it is our time to turn things around. I appreciate the efforts of all the young women who are moving and leading this initiative, and this is our future generation of leaders. In the recent UN or this year's UN Commission on the Status of Women, the focus was on climate change, environmental crisis, coupled with also the COVID-19 pandemic and the impact on women. We have seen that impact, and we need to raise our flags high to address the impact of the environmental crisis and the climate change on women. We still face great threats as women, and especially that we continue to be underrepresented in decision-making positions. It is important that we see so many talented women. Usually we as women, we want to say that we want to stay out of politics and do a lot of good things as South Sudan women intellectuals, as women in the diaspora, as organizations, but we have a role also to play in the political system. And if we are not part of it, we will not be in a decision-making process. So I've always been encouraging women that sometimes we see that there are very few women who are represented in political positions, but sometimes it is because we women are not enough in the political parties. So I'm encouraging women to also join the political parties because we have a lot of responsibilities. And we can do the advocacy that we're doing, but we also have to be present in the decision-making tables. It is not easy, and it is a difficult task because partisan politics will come in, but we women, we serve everyone, regardless of who they are. And as I heard this morning, regardless of their religious affiliation, regardless of their political parties, regardless of their tribes, and regardless of where they live. So we have a role, and we can play that from everywhere, anywhere that we are. I want to encourage women to be also members of different political parties, because being there, you are representing women. You are being the voice of women, or the voice of young girls who need us to be part of the decision-making process. I usually say young girls and women, but I don't want to forget men and young boys, because we are all one system. But we call upon the empowerment of women and girls because they are being neglected in our communities, in our societies. And by neglecting half of our population, it means that we are not moving our country forward. We have to do all of this, keeping that we have men and their young boys in our lives that we care about as well. So it is not only women, but it's all of us, but under the leadership of women. And as we can see, women's leadership cannot be underestimated. I'm grateful to be in my position as the governor of Western Bahr el-Ghazal, but for me, it is a responsibility of representing all women. And I say that this is the chair, it's the seat of all women. It's not my seat, it's not the seat of the party, it is the seat of all women. My success will be the success of all women, and my failure will be the failure of all women. They will say, so we have to stand together. And I'm reaching out to you, all the women, that we need to stand together. We need your advices, we need your support. I need your support, and I need your advice. And let us stand together. I'm a member, and maybe also, well, what do you call it? SSWI, an expert of SSWI. I am there, I'm following what is going on. I might not be commenting a lot of time, but I have been following. And through this kind of platform is where I want to get advice, I want to get a feedback. Everyone is not perfect. If there is any challenges, anything that is not going right, I need your advices to help me in taking how to do it. And this is not for myself, but it is for empowering women, and it is the kind of work that we today are doing to ensure that women is part of the peace and security of the Republic of South Sudan. So this is really an important platform, and I'm glad that I'm here today, that let us join hands together and share ideas. And I will be taking a lot of what I'm learning from here. I'll take that back to the state. And when in one state, in South Sudan, is stable and women are empowered, that means women all over South Sudan are empowered. Thank you very much for including me in your program.
Okay.
Thank you so much, the Honorable Minister. Yes, she's coming on stage with the Honorable Minister Benjamin Warile, and I think they have something to say together. This is amazing. So please welcome on stage. Aisha, we would have to invite Ms. Regina to hold on for a bit so that our Honorable Minister can speak with the Governor of Western Barangazal State. Please, let's welcome them on stage. Give a huge round of applause for our women leaders.
Thank you. I believe I should have said one last sentence before I leave. It is my honor to call upon the Honorable Minister of Gender, Child and Social Welfare, Honorable Aya Benjamin Warile, to come and make her opening remarks and also to officially open this gathering. Welcome, Honorable.
Thank you very much. Before she goes, this is my sister. I look up to her for many things. She's so experienced, and I really admire her strength when she on what she does in the state. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Honorable Governor of Western Barangazal, can you people help me with this? Honorable Sarah Cleto, honorable members present, representative of UN Women, representative of the Embassy of the Kingdom of Netherlands, distinguished guests, both online and present, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and happy Easter to all of you. I'm honored to be part of this great forum of women, intellectual women of South Sudan. Over the last 2 years, we've seen how coming together can work out things for us as women of South Sudan. I want to sincerely thank the South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Forum for organizing this, and I want to also thank UN Women for their continuous support, and our friends, the Netherlands. This conference is on women, peace, and security. And as a lead ministry, the Ministry of Gender, Child, and Social Welfare, I would like to welcome you to attend this. And also to assure you that you can count on the leadership of the ministry for all the activities related to women, peace, and security. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to officially open this conference. However, it is also important for you to know what the Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare is doing. So allow me to highlight some of the achievements of the Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare on women, peace and security. The Republic of South Sudan has committed to ensuring post-conflict reconstruction strategies. It recognizes the needs of women, peace and security, and that is evident in the South Sudan Development Plan. The government of South Sudan increasingly acknowledges that men and women are affected by violence and discrimination in very different ways and to very different degrees. Hence, their respective security requirements are not identical. The government's obligation is to protect women from gender-based violence, support the participation of women in all decision-making and peace processes, and emphasizes on the importance of integrating gender perspectives and training into peacekeeping operations, and the need to mainstream gender in programs, implementation mechanisms. Following independence, the government of South Sudan established the Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare. The ministry's mandate is to mainstream gender throughout government institutions and also to focus on creating national policies for the implementation. Since its formation, the Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare has championed the establishment of gender focal points in all the ministries as a strategy for enhancing the operationalization of the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325. In 2019, the Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare and development partners commissioned a study on the implementation status of the UN SCR 1325 in South Sudan. This study informed the development of the South Sudan's National Action Plan with South Sudan adopting the UN SCR 1325. This has provided an opportunity to promote interest in a locally grown action plan to support its implementation. The Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare acknowledges that the implementation of the principles of the UNCR 1325 offers opportunity for the newly emerging nation to consolidate efforts for sustainable conflict resolution and peace building. Currently, the government of South Sudan is embarking on a number of efforts to promote post-conflict reconstruction. After reviewing the National Action Plan and launching the report on the UNSCR 1325, the Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare has developed a roadmap for the development of the new NAP. The terms of reference for the consultants is being finalized. And hopefully, before the end of the year, we should have a new NAP. Aren't you people happy about that? Efforts include a constitutional review process, security sector reform, as well as judicial and electoral reform processes. Economically, the government has outlined the South Sudan Development Plan and the Poverty Reduction Strategy, both of which detail approaches to economic re-engagement. Cross-cutting all these efforts, the government has also adopted the National Gender Policy. Nonetheless, economic constraints and ongoing security threats continue to create challenges for the government. Ultimately, these developments impact on the government's ability to promote women's agenda in peace and security. There have been ongoing efforts in reforming key security institutions, such as the police, army, and prisons. And there are various initiatives that seek to professionalize the security sector as well as enhance the capacity of these institutions to provide security for citizens. Some of the activities include training and capacity building of South Sudan Police Services and the South Sudan People's Defense Forces. Our government and the partners have developed a framework that enshrines basic international standards and upholds human rights for all the South Sudanese people. There are also programs on juvenile and gender justice, and these initiatives include the holding of awareness-raising workshops on the legislative framework of juvenile justice, and groups such as judges, prosecutors, and police officers. There have also been efforts towards implementing the UNSCR 1325 from various development partners. Various development partners, bilateral and multilateral, have been engaging in ongoing capacity building efforts towards raising awareness of various sections of South Sudan population and have a working group that focuses on women, peace, and security. At the national level, the interim constitution's bill of rights and acknowledges the right to equal treatment for both men and women. Additionally, various government ministries have responded to sexual gender-based violence directly or indirectly. The Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare has responded to the SGBV challenges by creating standard operating procedures on reporting, documenting, and investigating cases. There are already initiatives around the international campaign, such as the 16 Days of Activism for No Violence Against Women and Children, during which the Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare and the partners, UN agencies, civil society organizations have partnered to raise awareness. Awareness raising is one of the critical pillars towards addressing GBV. However, what needs to be done is to ensure that awareness creation raising processes on SGBV are conducted continuously and systematically throughout the year. For the 35% affirmative action implementation at the executive levels in South Sudan, no institution has reached the 35%. Not at the executive level. There is a wide myth in the ministry that there are no qualified women to fill out the positions. I would like to state that and make it clear that we have qualified South Sudanese women who can even take 100% of the position. We have clear evidence of qualified women through South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Forum. This forum has shown beyond doubt that South Sudanese does have qualified women in all fields. Furthermore, UN Women supported a consultant last year to come up with a database of women leaders across South Sudan, detailing women's qualifications and areas of expertise. A database that can be drawn upon for various appointments. There are indeed qualified women in South Sudan. As a ministry, we encourage women to join political parties, to access political positions so that we can influence decision making. Equality between men and women is recognized as a fundamental aspect of a just, secure, and democratic society. Equality between men and women means securing the equal rights and opportunity of women, men in laws and policies, as well as ensuring equal access to resources, services within families, communities, and society. This includes equal rights to participate in all spheres and at all levels of political and public life. The wide disparities in women's representation remain in South Sudan, where very few occupy decision-making positions at all levels of political and public office. The Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare will continue to work to ensure that women are occupying the 35%. We will continue to hold senior leadership accountable. The ministry will continue to remind everyone that equal rights and opportunities for women and men are universally recognized. We will continue to remind everyone that equal representation of women and men in politics is a prerequisite for democratic elections. We will continue to remind everyone that inclusive parliaments can enhance legitimacy and representativeness. We will continue to remind everyone that gender equality is conducive to economic development. We will continue to remind everyone that changes to the perception of society and political stakeholders regarding women's capacity is necessary. We will continue to strengthen confidence of women to influence policy agenda in parties and parliament. And let everyone know that is vital. We will continue to remind everyone that promoting better understanding of gender equality issues in society is key. Women in South Sudan have not been merely victims of post-war violence, but they have demonstrated their capacity for voice, action, retaliation, and intervention in times of conflict and post-conflict reconstruction. The Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare is faced with numerous challenges of a varied nature. First is budget allocation, budget environment. The implementation of the National Action Plan on UNSCR 1325 requires the provision of resources. Adequate and predictable funding is crucial for efficient and sustainable implementation of the resolution. The ultimate success of National Action Plan on UNSCR 1325 depends on funding and commitment to ensure their full implementation. Continued violence in post-independent South Sudan remains as a factor that hampers strong and sustainable peace. As a result, hundreds of thousands of people have remained displaced, with barely engaging in everyday livelihood enhancing initiatives such as farming. Insecure environment compounds the prevalence of SGBV during peacetime. This insecure environment curtails development efforts and exposes women to SGBV. Increase in domestic violence, rape, and economic deprivation experienced by women since the peace process has posed more challenges to realizing gender equality. There is low reporting of SGBV because of fear of stigma, lack of knowledge, distance of community from reporting unit, and culture. In conclusion, effective implementation of UNHCR 1325 requires a well-functioning legal aid mechanism, which includes the provision of legal aid in civil cases. Legal aid would enable women to access resources such as land, which women would otherwise be unable to access. Additionally, legal aid in criminal cases would address further victimization of SGBV survivors, who in some cases end up being charged for adultery. In the context of the implementation of the revitalized agreement of the conflict in South Sudan, the Ministry of Justice has made a milestone towards the establishment of the Commission for Truth, Reconciliation, and Healing. We urge them to establish the other two mechanisms, the hybrid court for South Sudan and compensation and reparation authority. Because this means the victims will gain access to justice, they will be protected and compensated. In order to successfully implement the principles of the UNHCR 1325 at the national level, our government will need to coordinate the different national as well as international development partners to create a joint framework for operationalizing the resolution. Access to credit and input-output markets is an important indicator of the level of economic empowerment of citizens in South Sudan. Credit allows people to invest in enterprises that can increase their welfare level. This is important in the context of implementing resolution, especially with respect to UNHCR 1325, indicator 18, which refers to percentage of female adults employed in early economic recovery and development program. Thank you very much. May God bless you. And with this, I officially declare this conference open.
Thank you so much to the Honorable Minister Aya Benjamin Warile. I would like to say that if there's anyone who has supported us as a South Sudanese Women Intellectuals Forum and has supported the women of South Sudan. It's Honorable Aya Benjamin Wiril. Please just give her another round of applause for the dedication and commitment she has for this country and for the women of South Sudan. We are privileged and honored to have her here to open this one-of-a-kind conference on women, peace, and security on South Sudan's soil. We are amazed at the caliber of women leaders that we have, and we pray that those of us who are here and are yet to enter into leadership or political positions, as Honorable Sarah Krito has encouraged us to, will strive to become those kind of leaders for our country and for the benefit of our women and our children and the future of our country. Thank you so much for that. Next, in the interest of time, I would like to request if the next speakers can summarize and just do their presentations in a short time. However, we are going into the technical part of this conference, but before we do that, I would like to request Aisha, if Ms. Regina is still online, she can have a minute or two to speak on behalf of the diaspora. There she is. Then after Ms. Regina, we will have a representative from EU organization, Ms. Eva Kionzo, and then thereafter, will be joined virtually by Honorable Betty Achan Ogwaro, who will then be giving us the linkages between the UN Security Council Resolution 1325 and the sectors, so that all of us have an idea of what we're going to be doing in the discussion. So I would like to welcome Ms. Regina Akok, all the way from Canada, as part of the representatives of the diaspora. Welcome, Ms. Regina.
Thank you. Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Regina Akok. I'm a South Sudanese woman based in Regina, Saskatchewan in Canada. I'm a teacher, a freelance journalist, and care and activist on social justice and women issues in particular. I want to start with Wangari Maathai quotation. African women in general need to know that it's okay for them to be the way they are, to see the way they are as a strength, to be liberated from fear and from silence. The end of quote. I'm so happy and excited about the South Sudanese Women Intellectual Forum with everything we have achieved so far. And this conference on women, peace, and security is one of them. This is a crucial step, small but significant in many ways. First, it affirms women's serious involvement in peace building. Women's participation, as everybody have said already, is vital, is important, and should be recognized. We appreciate the support of UN Women to ensure that the country's leaders fulfill their responsibilities towards achieving sustainable peace. Second, it brings all women together. Third, it's important that women involved in all processes, talks, agreement, organizing, advocacy, participating, their ideas, their thought, their perspective. All the institutions, whether regional partners and international community, the government of South Sudan, they should ensure that gender equality and women's rights are fully integrated into and are outcome of state building. These cannot be achieved without paying serious attention to women's perspective, understanding women's daily life, addressing their concern, placing them in the center of all processes of peace. Although women have been underrepresented in formal peace deals signing in the past, we cannot ignore their involvement in informal way at the local level, where peace means rebuilding society, healing wounded spirit, raising, educating children. I am so happy at the beginning, the interview of, her name was Agnes. She's doing her business and she provided her story. And it's very important we listen to different women at different walks of life. Every story matters. Okay. Somebody has mentioned, or all of you have mentioned, that although women are continually engaged in peace,
their skills to support other less privileged women and girls. This led to the birth of Eve Organization for Women Development in 2005 in Sudan, and then moved to South Sudan in 2008. By then, these girls were at the university, and now they are married women, and they're still in the initiative of making sure each and every woman, be it from the grassroots or from the parliament or in diaspora, they are bringing home women so that their voices can be heard.
Yes, we can continue. And our vision is to see peaceful and development women in South Sudan. Eve is not an abbreviation, but rather the first woman on the earth as per the creation history. The key intervention, we are based on the UN 1325, the Women, Peace and Security Agenda. Women leadership and political participation, peace building and social cohesion, young women leadership program, we call it incubator, reproduction, reproductive health, and the socio-economic empowerment, and gender-based violence. In 2010, we mobilized women to participate in the Sudanese election. As most of you women here, when it was in 2010, when we wanted the separation, women came out in large numbers, mobilized women. They could not write that, but they made sure that women can vote. And in 2011, women came out in large numbers to vote for the independence of South Sudan. And that's why we are here today. Worked closely with the Minister of Gender.
Sorry. I will interrupt Ms. Eva for just a second. The owner of this car has been requested to go and move the car. The number plate is GOS 5748BC. If you are the owner of that car, it's been parked incorrectly, you can just remove it. Thank you, Ms. Eva. Please continue. Sorry for the
Okay, thank you. And we worked closely with the Minister of Gender in development of South Sudan National Action Plan, and for the ratification of CEDAW. The achievement so far, what we have done, in 2014 to 2018, we mobilized women to claim the space in the IGAD-led peace process. As a result, the South Sudan Women Coalition was formed and eventually became the signatory in the RARC in 2018. The results are the gender articles in the revitalized agreement. We advocate for women issues in our signatures. We made sure South Sudan women are prioritized and on agenda in the regional and global table. E.g., statements to the Security Council 2016 and numerous meetings with the IGAD and the Union and the African Union. Dialogue with the other stakeholders on peace. In 2017, to date, licensed to operate in Uganda and support South Sudanese women and girls in the refugee camp. So we are not only in South Sudan, but we make sure that when our women and girls exit to the neighboring country, we follow them there so that they can also be empowered. Another achievement in 2018, together with the Women Parliamentarian Caucus, developed a strategy for enhancing women leadership and political participation. We made sure that our women politicians have the strategy on how to start and where to end, or how to raise motions even in the parliament. In 2019, and every October during the UNSR Open Debate, Eve has organized National Annual Women Conference in Juba on the resolution 1325. Sorry.
It's quite unstable.
Yeah.
The volume, we can reduce the volume.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. What you can see it's not.
Sorry for that mishap. So it present please. As I have said, Eve has organized National Annual Women Conference in Juba on the UNSCR 1325, the fourth conference. The fourth conference will be in October this year. So we might reach some of you to call you back again for this conference. And in 20 on the UNSCR 1325 NAP of 2015 and 2020, as we have had, for civil society perspective, and provided the recommendation to the Ministry of Gender for the next NAP, as we have had that in the 2015-2020 NAP elapsed, and now we have to have another NAP. Finally, at Eve, we believe a national that cannot be built and sustain peace, realized by one gender alone, but rather inclusive of men and women, boys and girls, and the minorities. We cannot build the nation as women alone. We have to put everybody on board. We will continue to push boundaries in South Sudan until we achieve an inclusive and a peaceful country. Please follow us on the Facebook. As you can see, oh, it is not showing. We have the follow up. You can follow us in Facebook or in Twitter or in website. I remain Eva Kiongo. Thank you very much for listening. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Eva, and thank you for that presentation on the work that Eve has done in South Sudan. We are very proud of the impact that you have had so far, and we will continue to work in collaboration with you and other organizations based in South Sudan, both women-led and South Sudanese-led. So we'll go straight ahead and continue with the program. At this juncture, we will invite Honorable Betty Achan Ogaro, who will be joining us from the diaspora, but she's going to do the main presentation for this event. In view of the fact that she is a technical person, she will be able to tell us what to expect in terms of how we can link the sectors with the issues of women, peace, and security. So I will request all of us to be very attentive in view of the fact that we are divided into clusters that are not necessarily technical in relation to what we're discussing today, and therefore we all need to have a general idea of what the expectations are. So you can see from my screen, we are already projecting the discussion that she will be taking us through, and I can see her now on the screen. Welcome, Honorable Betty Achan. We are so privileged to have you join us, and we thank you for taking this opportunity to educate us on the linkages between the United Nations Security Council resolution 1325 and the sectors that are represented here. So I will just, without wasting too much time, I will invite you to continue with your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ann. I'm speaking from the diaspora, but I don't live in the diaspora. I live in Juba. I just came out for a medical checkup. But I'm very pleased to be part and partial of this conference. Honorable Aya Benjamin Warile, Minister of Gender, my chief whip, if she's still there, Honorable Rebecca Joshua, I'm very pleased you are among us. Honorable Governor, I don't know if she has already left, but I'm very pleased that she had time to come and greet the women. All the national and state ministers, if they are there, members of parliament, UN agencies, my dear delegates, all protocol observed. I'm really pleased that we are taking the UN Security Council resolutions forward. Every year we are improving on the past year. I'm asked to talk about the linkages between the UNCR 1325 and the sectors so that the women can see where they can link and where they can advise and draw programs that they can work on. Actually, I want to say that South Sudanese women were one of the promoters of this resolution, because women started talking about promotion, protection, prevention of crimes against women during war before the resolution was implemented. So I'm really very pleased that we are taking these resolutions now forward. Can we have the next slide? I will briefly go over the UN Security Council Resolution 1325. Many people who spoke before me already actually said it, but I'm going to repeat some of it for the purpose of emphasis, because you are going to use this presentation for discussions later on. As I said, after years of campaign and lobbying worldwide by many actors, including South Sudanese women, the Security Council came to the realization and acceptance of the disproportionate and unique impact of armed conflicts on women. It recognized the undervalued and underutilized contributions which women make to conflict prevention, conflict resolution, peacekeeping, and peace building. So in the year 2000, the Security Council Resolution 1325 was adopted. But following that, the Security Council adopted other resolutions, nine other resolutions that together they form the international policy framework on women, peace, and security. This other 9 includes the 1820 resolution, which was adopted in 2008, 1888 in 2008 also, and then 1889 in 2009, 1960 in 2010, 2106 in 2013, 2122 in 2013, 2242 in 2015, 2467 in 2019, and 2493 in 2019. All these 10 resolutions talk about women, peace, and security. How can women participate in prevention of conflict? How can women participate in resolution, conflict resolutions, and peace building? I had sent to Dr. Ann to print out this summary of these resolutions to help you later on to understand what are these 10 resolutions. Women, peace and security stresses the importance of women's equal and full participation as active agents in peace and security. We know that there will never be equal participation unless women put more effort. Men will always undervalue women. So we need to put more effort to gain this equal participation. The resolution also reaffirms the importance of the role of women in prevention and resolution of conflicts in peace building. We have many examples when we talk about the women's participation in conflict resolutions. If we look at our own war, the SPLM, SPLA, we have example of women taking active part in the UNLIT resolutions, which actually should be documented and publicized to see that the women of South Sudan were not doing nothing. They participated very effectively. Women, peace and security affirms that peace and security efforts are more sustainable when women are equal partners in the prevention of violent conflict, the delivery of relief and recovery efforts, and in forging of lasting peace. When the resolution 1325 first came out, relief and recovery was not, if I remember, was not part of the pillars. But because of the importance, it has been included, and they stress that when women participate equally with men, in the delivery of relief and recovery, there would be better and lasting peace. It also stresses the need to increase the role of women in decision making. I think the governor talked very well on this, and the Minister Aya also talked about decision making, the participation of women in decision making being very important. We should talk about decision making not only in conflict, but in all areas that affect the life of people. What are the key provisions of 1325? We have had the increased participation and representation of women at all levels, and then attention to specific protection needs of women and girls during conflict. Specific needs. Gender perspective in post-conflict processes. So after the conflict, so what? And I always say, when during the war of the SPLA, SPLM, women were very active, they were very vocal, their presence was very important. Men will always look for women if they want information to be passed to the international partners. But when we now got the CPA, women are forgotten. Women themselves decided to recede and stand backwards. So we need to really look at the post-conflict processes, how women can participate. And then the gender perspective in UN programming. Yes, UN support us, but we also have to have a perspective on how they program the way they want to help us. So we need to be part of it so that it also achieves the goal. And also in reporting, there are certain things that are reported very effectively, but there are certain things that women do effectively that are never reported. And it is only women that can help the UN system to report the achievements or the difficulties that they have. And then the gender perspective in training in US peace keeping and support operations. I'm happy the Minister of Gender already really elaborated what they're doing on this, and we need to build on that. The 4 pillars, the prevention, the protection, participation, and as I say, I remember in the year 2000 when 1325 was enacted, we had 4 P's. There was promotion, but now the promotion is silent, but promotion is important in all the other 3 P's. And then relief and recovery. Now the prevention. It calls for improving intervention strategies in the prevention of violence against women, including persecuting those responsible for violation of international laws, even of national laws. I remember sometimes back, the consortium of women's organizations called a 2-day conference with the security sector. And women spoke very openly to the military, the police, and the other security sectors to improve and prevent violence against women, whether during conflict or even during peace. And the security sector had promised that they will work with women to improve on this. So it's now the women to help implementation of this. We need to strengthen rights under the national law. Our national law is not helping us, but it is us now to strengthen it, because we have laws, we have the This is just a picture of women. It's very important for women. If you see, it is always the women and the children, and they suffer all the time. So it is important we prevent this and we don't run, we don't move. On protection, the Security Council Resolution 1325 and the other resolutions talks about specifically protection of women and girls from sexual and gender-based violence. I add the word boys to this. So we need to protect women and girls and boys, because we have experiences that even boys have been sexually abused during conflict. And when we also talk of emergency and humanitarian situation in refugee camps, we need also to add the IDPs, because we also need to really look specifically on how the women in the IDP camps can be supported. I will go quickly because I need to go to the core of the matter. So protection of women during conflict, this particular picture, I put it because I really got very sad when there was a clash between the Sudan People's Defense Force and the IO in Lair Country just 2 weeks ago. A woman just got herself wounded in this conflict. She was not part of the conflict, but see, she was bleeding seriously, but still as a mother, she was breastfeeding her child with blood all over her. Even this child is sucking part of the blood that is bleeding on the breast, which is really miserable, and we need to do something to stop this. The relief and recovery is also advancement of relief and recovery. I think I've already said that because I want to go quickly to my presentation. These are women in IDPs. Actually, these are the women who ran recently in the conflict of Magui, and you can see how miserable the women are under this tree. The most important to me in these four pillars of the UN Security Council resolution, the 4 Ps, the most important to me is the participation. So I will stress a lot on the participation. So the UN Security Council resolution 1325 calls for increased participation of women. The word increased, it means the women are there, but they are still very few. So we need increased participation of women at all levels of decision making. So we shouldn't just look at women in the government, women ministers, but we should look at every decision making level, including civil service. Are we there? Because these are also decision making levels. And this participation, because if you are in every sector, it will also help in preventing and managing resolutions that is related to conflict. So it is not only being in a conflict-related ministry, but at all levels, including our homes. Women's public, private, and political participation is more than just numbers. Because now, I know that the 35% has not been achieved, and they try to achieve it by adding numbers in the parliament. So we want to look at it more than the numbers. We want to achieve the 35%, but also we want to have women who can shape laws and then increase the practices that will prevent and also manage conflict. So we are looking to increase the number of women in participation to have the real influence over decisions. Not just a matter of a woman being there and counting the numbers that we have achieved 35%. We want these women to have voices loud and clear so that they can influence decisions that is being made. So what are the priorities for us as women, really, if we want to increase our participation? Our priority would be to find out the way for more women to participate in the political, economic, and social arena. Because these are all important to improve the livelihood of women and also to reduce conflict. So let us see how can we participate politically or in economic sector or even in the social arena. So now I want to go to the strategies. Did you jump? Aisha, I want to go after participation. I want to go to the strategies. Before linkages, I want to go to the strategies. Okay. So what will be our strategies? These are the technical things that I'm going into, the strategies that can make us draw up program to help Ministry of Gender and help ourselves. In the strategies, initially, when we were campaigning for the 25%, that was our strategy, to get more women into the decision making. We had wanted 50%. The men said, no, where are the women? There are no educated women, even when there were glaring educated women on their faces. So when John Garang said women are the marginalized of the marginalized, let us start by 25%. So that is 1/4, which is a strategy. And I'm happy that when women went for the revitalized peace agreement, they also improved on that because the president had already announced in the SPLM that SPLM will increase its quota by 35. But the women who were at the peace agreement brought it up together. There was no party in this. All the women together, they now brought it up and it was brought up in the agreement. That's one strategy. And it has actually improved the number of women in the parliament. It has not yet improved the number of women in the other sectors, not even in the executive. What is another strategy we can use? The other strategy is the target, self-target, because we have the quota target, but now let's look at the self-target. Women themselves have to target themselves to achieve a goal. So if a woman says, I want to be the president, let us promote that woman. It is a target to promote the woman. And the woman will have to work hard to achieve the target. So self-target is very important. We are not good at self-target because we are afraid that if we start promoting ourselves and say, oh, I want to be minister of so and so, people will start despising us and say, look at her. No. For us to improve, let us have not only the regulated quota, but we also have to have the self-target. And then we need to work for the legislative change. Yes, we have women in the parliament that will help to raise the voices of the women, but the women outside need to reach the women in the parliament so that issues that they want to be raised can be raised. But if the women outside do not reach the women in the parliament, some of the issues cannot be raised. Don't expect the women in the parliament to automatically know what the women need. So we need legislative change, but legislating what is there, but we need the women outside there to work with the women in the parliament. We also now we should begin to diversify what we want. Let us not just look at one direction. We need to diversify so that we gain more. Already people before me talked of working with men. Hello, are we okay? Hello? Are we okay? So we have to work with peaceful masculinities, and to build up men who are friendly to us, so that they also promote our causes. And then we have the Notable Women program. Notable women meaning we have women who are already in senior level positions, governors, ministers, chief whips. These women, we need to increase their profile so that they engage more and engage better to bring up other women. It's a strategy that works in other areas, in other countries, and we also have to have this strategy in South Sudan so that we increase our participation. But also these leaders have to be solid leaders. We need solid leadership commitment. Not that a leader should be called all the time to attend one thing or another. The leader should also call people. The leader should bring people together. The leader should bring changes. The leader should advocate. So we need solid leadership commitment from our women. In the essence, it is essential for the top women leaders to sustain their engagement in driving change in conflict management resolution. So wherever there is conflict, it is very important that the women who are already in the leadership position to step up so that we can see how we can manage change during conflict resolutions. Can we go ahead? Can we go ahead? Hello?
Honorable Betty, we were not hearing you for a while there. If you can start with the slide that you're on, that starts with solid leadership. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, so we were on the slide for strategies where you were talking about solid leadership commitment and the essentialness of top women leaders sustaining engagement in driving change.
Okay. Yeah, if I go a slide earlier, I talked before the solid leadership. I talked about the notable women. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, the Notable Women program is very important so that we increase the leadership of women. And then I said, with even the notable leadership, we need to have solid leadership of the women, solid commitment for this of the women who are already in position to drive the change. Because if we leave it to be random, this is where the change would not be taken seriously. It is also essential for the top women leaders to sustain their engagement in driving change in conflict management resolution. So when there is conflict, the women should not wait until they are called into area. They should quickly pick up and call up other women to see the way they can manage the conflict. So if you can go ahead. Can you go to the next slide? Another strategy we need to use is changing of culture. We are in a male-dominated country. We are in a country where people say women cannot do. But we need to change this culture. And we can only do that by changing the mindset of the society. Because it is not only men who think women cannot do. Also, women think women cannot do. So we need to change the culture and the obstacle barring women. Now I want to go to the technical of it, the linkages between the UN Security Council Resolution 1325 and the sectors, and how we can harvest more from these sectors. So can you move ahead? Okay, so now we go back to the pillars of UN Security Council Resolution 1325. We start with the protection, and which are the sectors that can link us to this protection issue. In the protection, attention is to be given specifically to protect the needs of women and girls in conflict. So if we look at this, which are the sectors that we need to link with to help in protecting the girls in conflict? I said we have the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs as a ministry. Then we have humanitarian agencies. These are sectors that we need to link with in order to see how we can protect the needs of women and girls and boys in conflict. The Ministry of Defense, or the security sector in general, is a very big agency that have a big hand in the protection of women. We have the military, because that is where the war is affecting the women. We have the police, which should be protecting the women. And then the national security at all levels, whether it is internal, and the prisons, where some women are arrested and taken to, they also have difficulties there, and there are sometimes sexual abuses in prisons. So these sectors, we need to link with them and develop programs that can help us work with them. Ministry of Gender will be in the center of all this, because the women need to work through the Ministry of Gender. Ministry of Health is very important in this, protecting women and girls in conflict, because in case of rape or in case of sexual abuses, but also Ministry of Health has something called the social protection. And then we have the women networks. All the women's civil societies, the women networks need to work together in order to protect the women in conflict. Importantly, we also have to work with the court, because if there are people who are accused, we need to see that the court is doing its work fairly to the women who are abused. But it is very important for women to be very close to the courts. UNIMIS as an agency has been working a lot on humanitarian issues, but we want to link, they should link with the women. On participation, we need to start the participation really from home, the family. How does a family bring up the child, the girl child, to participate in decision making at home, and as she grows up through schools until she becomes mature and a responsible person? I had said earlier, the the culture, the tradition, and the practices which fall under the traditional authority of the local government is also an agency that the women need to work with, link with, in order to protect women during conflict. The media is very important here because we want the media also to vibrantly talk of what is happening. If there is a conflict in an area, if there is an abuse in an area, the media is an important agency that women need to work with in order to vibrantly link them. The political. I was happy that both the governor and the Minister of Gender brought out the political parties. You cannot participate fully in the government at the moment or in the national legislature if you are not a member of a party. So you need to be a member of a party in order to go to the parliament. You need to be a member of the party in order to be appointed to represent your party in the government. This is what is happening so far. So we cannot avoid parties. True, some of us don't want to be in parties, but we can encourage and enhance some women to take active participation in the different parties. In the public sector, there are many ministries that we need to link with. We have Ministry of Education, both the basic and the higher education, because Ministry of Gender is central to this. The state ministry of local government is really crucial because most things happen at the rural areas. Ministry of Health, Ministry of Labor is important for us as women because we also want to see that women are taking up civil service at a higher level. We have a lot of educated women. Women of Ministry of Foreign Affairs have scholarships that women can benefit from, and especially in studying conflict-related issues, we need to coordinate with Ministry of Foreign Affairs and then the Peace Commission. Economic-related institutions, I always say, if a woman is economically empowered, she has a voice and a choice. So Ministry of Finance need to now see how they can enhance women who are in business, like my sister who spoke earlier. Ministry of Commerce with the taxation, they should help women how they can apply and be part of it. We have commercial banks that have money and they are not really enhancing women to empower themselves. The Cooperative Bank of Agriculture and the Agricultural Bank, Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Animal Resources, because there are a lot of women who are in the livestock management, and yet their management is not considered. And then we have the informal and the formal market that should improve the women's life. What are the legal frameworks that we can use to assist women link to all those institutions? The legal frameworks that are there include, can we go ahead, include hello, can we go ahead?
Yes, we can, Honorable Betty.
Yeah, let's go into the legal frameworks.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah,
we have about 5 minutes.
Yes, one of the most important legal framework that we really need to use is the revitalized peace agreement, because it has provisions for women. The 35% is mentioned there. The Women Economic Empowerment Fund is there, and women participation at all levels. We need to use this. We need to use the revitalized peace agreement as an instrument that to promote our getting into what we need. And then the transitional constitution. Transitional constitution also talks about the 35% of the affirmative action and other provisions of women, the family, and the children. The National Action Plan, which Ministry of Gender has developed, is a very important legal framework that women should use. And we need, in this conference today, improve recommendations that we can give to the Ministry of Gender to add into the National Action Plan. Can we go ahead? Okay, go ahead. The other framework is the international and national laws. So if we can go into the international laws, we have the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. We have the African Union and IGAD gender policies. We have the Maputo Protocol. And then we have the East African Community Gender Policy. These are frameworks that are there legally and women can use it. And who are our stakeholders who can help us in this? UN agencies are there, like UN Women has already been working with us for a long time, the UNDP, UNMISS, UNEP, and others. But civil society is the biggest asset women have in advancing women's leadership, especially in conflict management and conflict resolutions. But we need resources. All these linkages, all these strategies, the National Action Plan cannot happen if we don't have resources. The Minister of Gender has already alluded to it, that we need resources. There should be a resource from government budget. So, but Ministry of Gender need to work with all the ministries that are linked to the women, peace and security, so that every ministry has a budget for the issues that they are addressing within the women, peace and security. Then we have to have the private sectors to help us also implement this. Now to conclude, I want to say what the former US Ambassador at Large for Global Women's Issues at the US Department of State, Melaine Vernier, said. He said, too often women's roles are marginalized because they are not seen in terms of their leadership. So we must stop seeing women as victims, and we women also must stop calling ourselves victims. We must now forge forward in terms of leadership and participate to bring peace and security in South Sudan. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable. We have learned so much from that presentation that you have given us. I think now I am a gender expert, an expert on the UN Security Council Resolution 1325. So I hope Honorable Betty Achan-Ogwaro's presentation has given you sort of like an overview of some of the linkages between the various sectors. We will also be handing out some papers that give instructions on what we are going to discuss. We have a few gender experts on the floor, and my colleague and co-MC is Veronica will be able to call out some of you to assist and circle around in the various clusters in order to give people a bit of direction. So I apologize for the delay. We started the program a little late. At the moment now, we will be going on the live session, but I'd like to request everyone, if possible, tomorrow. We arrive here early, at least by 8. That's how most of us seated. So so that we don't have similar delays as today. I want to thank all the speakers who have given their presentations and talked so far. We thank also the virtual audience for joining us, and we thank our delegates and participants who are currently here physically. Aisha, we'd like to thank you for coordinating the virtual streaming, and at this time I'd like to say that we will end the virtual session as we go for tea, and then tomorrow we will join the virtual audience again when we're doing the final presentations for the various groups. So thank you, Aisha. You can let me know if we are going to end the live session.